Hello and welcome back to Women's Football Talk, the YouTube channel that brings you all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. Now before we get into today's video, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss a video of ours. And today we're going to be looking at both of the FA Cup semi-finals taking place this weekend here in England. Both games are kicking off on Sunday. We first have Tottenham Hotspur versus Leicester City kicking off at midday from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Now these two sides met in the league just over a month ago, where Tottenham won 1-0 thanks to an early 2 minutes from Matilda Vinberg. And when the sides met earlier on in the season back in November, it was a 1-1 draw. Now I'm expecting a bit more chaos and more chances for both sides and goals as well, because they will be eyeing their first ever FA Cup final, both teams, so there's that bit of history on the line for both of them, which would be really good for either side. Obviously for Leicester City, it's been a tough couple of weeks with the stuff regarding Willie Kirk, and obviously before the international break he was sacked from his position, so Leicester will be hoping that they can finally put all of that stuff behind them and get back to playing the way that they want to be playing and finish the season off as strongly as possible. But obviously they're coming up against a Spurs team that are obviously a little bit higher than them in the league, playing really good football at the minute. And I think it's going to be a very interesting game between the two sides on the field battle. It would slightly give my edging towards Tottenham being the better of the two sides, just because I think the quality of players that they've got can definitely cause Leicester more problems than what Leicester can at the minute to Spurs. Obviously you look at how Spurs could line up in that midfield. Grace Clinton, who's been absolutely excellent, Olga Arton and Matilda Vinberg, who I mentioned scored in that game not too long ago, and obviously up front Celine Bizet, Beth England, Martha Thomas can always cause a problem as well to the Leicester City defence. And then on the reverse side, if you look at how Leicester could be looking at their midfield, you've got obviously Sayuri Takadara, Josie Green, Yuka Mamiki, who can all do really good stuff, and then up front the likelihood of it being Jutta Rantzler or Lena Petterman, that would be the two players that can cause problems for Spurs. It's going to be a very interesting match between the two sides. Obviously, again, in terms of the grander scale of things, in terms of the WSL, and therefore why I'm expecting this to be a more open game is obviously both teams are very unlikely to get relegated at this minute. Spurs are in 6th on 25 points and Leicester City 9th on 17 points, with how Bristol City are performing in the league. So that's why I'm expecting this to be a more wide open game, and they're not having to worry about the WSL in terms of how they could finish off the rest of their season, because the likelihood of them being caught at this minute in time is very slim. But yeah, this game I'm expecting a lot of chances either side and a very wide open game. Now the next game taking place is Manchester United versus Chelsea from 2:35 at Leigh Sports Village. Now Manchester United have been in the news this week with rumours that Marc Skinner has been offered a contract extension. That was first reported by Charlotte Harper in The Athletic. There has been obviously some disgruntled fans over recent weeks and months over Marc Skinner, how poor the side have looked this season compared to last season. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks whether Skinner does accept that contract extension. I think it would just be like an added year rather than a new negotiated contract for him. And then on the Chelsea side of management front, there's been news stories that Sonia Bompastor will become the next coach. Tom Gary of The Telegraph has been reporting that she will take over Emma Hayes, but obviously that won't affect Chelsea's game plan heading into this one. Chelsea have been absolutely in good form against Manchester United in recent seasons, absolutely destroying them. If you remember, back in January they beat Marc Skinner's side by 3-1, so they'll be hoping that they can get that feat on them. And obviously last time out for Chelsea was that disappointing 1-0 Conti Cup final loss to Arsenal, so Emma Hayes will be hoping that her side can put this to bed, whilst Man United obviously got a 4-1 victory. Not the best Man United performances in that first half. I mean, Everton's goal from Katia Snoosh came from the Man United trying to play out the back and messing up where I feel like they won't be able to take that sort of chances against Chelsea when you look at the likes of Myra Ramirez, Lauren James, Johanna Wright and Canarid as the likely forward three. In my eyes, them three can cause Man United a lot of problems and will take a lot more of the chances and end up scoring them compared to, say, what Everton were able to do in that game a couple of weeks ago. Personally, just looking at this game with how Chelsea have had Man United's numbers in a lot of the games, how poor at times Man United were in that game, I do think Chelsea will edge this one and reach the FA Cup final. Obviously, Manchester United would have looked at that Conti Cup final where it went all the way to extra time and Stina Blackstenius getting her goal, but there was obviously chances for Arsenal in that regular 90 minutes, so Man United will have a look at that and say, okay, this is where we can take some of our chances against Chelsea and potentially get a goal or two. But on paper, yeah, I would say Chelsea are the favourites for that one. So that is the FA Cup. Both games kicking off on Sunday at 12 p.m. for Tottenham versus Leicester and 2:35 for Manchester United versus Chelsea. So a little bit of other news that has come out of the world of women's football this week. It's been reported that Everton manager Brian Sorensen is close to signing a new contract to keep him at the Merseyside club. I think it's a good bit of business for Everton to keep him there. They've had a bit of a bad season in recent weeks, but down in 10th place, but I think he's the right manager to lead them into the new season and going forth. I think he's got some great tactics. Obviously, injuries haven't really helped them this season, so I'm expecting some good investment for the club this summer. And obviously, regardless of what's happening on the men's side with their points deduction, you got to hope that doesn't factor into stuff that happens on the women's side, and hopefully they can be bouncing back and looking better. And then in the women's championship, Birmingham City boss Darren Carter has left the club by mutual consent. The news came out with a couple of games left of the season. There had been some murmurs before the international break that he wouldn't be extending his contract and that he could leave by the end of the season, but it's now came out that he has left before the season has ended. So it's going to be really interesting how the final couple of games go for Birmingham City, because they still have a chance of getting promoted back to the Barclays WSL, but at this minute in time they are in 5th place, so it's going to be very, very key to see how they can bounce back from all that disappointing news there. And then finally, the final 2 teams at this year's Paris Olympics have been confirmed. They are Nigeria and Zambia, as it was just the 2 African nations that could potentially get there, as the rest of the qualifiers for the 2024 Olympics had been sorted. So we now know all of that. In the meantime, that is it for this week. We'll be back next week to recap the weekend that is the FA Cup semi-final and any other big talking points that come out. In the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss a video of ours. Follow us on our Twitter and Instagram. Just search WF Talks on Twitter or X and Women's Football Talk, all one word, on Instagram there. We'll have articles out as well over on our Substack page. Again, just womensfootballtalk.substack.com for all that. And we will have a podcast out already looking back at the international break and looking ahead to these FA Cup games, and then we'll have one out next week. So again, just search Women's Football Talk on all podcast websites, and in the meantime, we'll see you soon.